Story 1. I've been working at this fast food restaurant for 2.5 years now. It's not exactly my dream job, but it pays the bills while I'm taking night classes at the community college. I'm studying business administration, hoping to eventually manage my own restaurants someday. The job has its ups and downs. The early morning shifts are brutal, especially when I had to close the night before, but I've gotten pretty good at handling difficult customers. Working food service really teaches you patience, though some days test that patience more than others. I usually work the drive-through window during the lunch rush because I'm fast with the register and good at keeping the line moving. Our location is right off the highway, so we get a lot of travelers mixed in with our regular customers. Most people are pretty understanding when we're busy, but every once in a while, someone comes along who makes the whole shift memorable. It was a typical Tuesday afternoon around 1:30 p.m. The lunch rush was starting to die down, and I was hoping for a quiet rest of my shift. That's when she pulled up to my window in a beat-up sedan that looked like it hadn't been washed in months. She handed me a crumpled piece of paper before I could even greet her. "Karen, I want to use this coupon for my order." I looked at the paper she'd given me. It was yellowed with age, had coffee stains on it, and was clearly from our old promotional design that we stopped using years ago. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but this coupon is expired. It says the expiration date was December 2005. "Karen, so what? It's still a coupon. I've been saving it for a special occasion." I blinked at her, thinking she might be joking. "Ma'am, this coupon is almost 20 years old. We can't accept expired coupons, especially ones that are this old." "Karen, that's ridiculous. A coupon is a coupon. I've been a loyal customer for years, and this is how you treat me." I understand your frustration, but our policy is that we can't accept expired coupons. However, I can check if we have any current promotions that might save you some money." "Karen, I don't want current promotions. I want to use this coupon. I've been keeping it in my purse specifically for this purpose." "Ma'am, this coupon expired before I was even old enough to work here. Our computer system won't even recognize it." "Karen, then override the system. You're the cashier, aren't you? Just give me the discount." The car behind her honked, and I could see we were starting to back up the drive-through line. "I don't have the authority to override expired coupons, but let me call my manager over to speak with you." "Karen, fine, but I'm not paying full price for this food. I have a valid coupon." My manager came over, and I explained the situation while showing him the ancient coupon. "Manager, ma'am, I'm sorry, but we can't accept this coupon. It's been expired for almost 2 decades. "Karen, this is discrimination. I'm a paying customer, and you're refusing to honor your own coupon." "Manager, the coupon was valid when it was issued, but it clearly states an expiration date. We can't accept expired coupons regardless of when they were printed." "Karen, I want to speak to your corporate office. This is terrible customer service." "Manager, you're welcome to contact corporate, but the policy on expired coupons is company-wide. Now, would you like to place your order without the coupon, or would you prefer to go somewhere else?" That's when she really lost it. "Karen, I'm not moving from this spot until you honor my coupon. I don't care if it's old. I saved it, and I want to use it." She put her car in park right there at the drive-through window. "Manager, ma'am, you can't block the drive-through. Other customers need to be served." "Karen, I don't care about other customers. I care about getting what I'm owed." The line behind her was now 5 cars deep, and people were starting to honk. "Karen, everyone can just wait. I'm standing up for consumer rights." She pulled out her phone and started recording. "Karen, this is absolutely unacceptable. I'm here at this restaurant trying to use a perfectly good coupon, and they're refusing to take it just because it's a few years old." She turned the camera to show the coupon. "Karen, look at this. It's in perfect condition. There's no reason they can't honor this except pure greed." "Manager, ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to move your vehicle. You're blocking our drive-through, and that's not fair to other customers." Karen, I'm not moving, and I'm broadcasting this live on Facebook so everyone can see how this place treats loyal customers. She held up her phone to show she was actually streaming live. Karen, hi everyone. I'm currently being discriminated against at this restaurant because I'm trying to use an older coupon. They claim it's expired, but a coupon is a coupon, right? I could hear car doors slamming behind her as frustrated customers got out to see what was causing the holdup. Angry customer, lady, what's your problem? Some of us have to get back to work. Karen, my problem is that this place won't honor their own coupon. I'm fighting for all of our rights as consumers. She turned back to her phone. Karen, as you can see, people are getting upset, but I'm not backing down. This is about principle. Manager, ma'am, if you don't move your vehicle, I'm going to have to call the police. Karen, call them. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm just trying to get fair treatment. She continued her Facebook Live rant. Karen, now they're threatening to call the police on me, all because I want to use a coupon that I've been saving. This is what's wrong with customer service today. The manager went back inside, probably to call the authorities. Meanwhile, several customers had gotten out of their cars and were approaching her vehicle. Customer 2. Listen, lady, your coupon is from 2005. Even if it was valid, the prices have changed completely since then. Karen, that's not my problem. They printed the coupon, so they should honor it. Customer 3, you're being ridiculous. Just pay for your food and move on. Karen, I'm not being ridiculous. I'm standing up for what's right. Everyone watching this stream can see that I'm being treated unfairly. She held her phone up to address her Facebook audience again. Karen, I want everyone to share this video so people know how this restaurant treats customers. This is unacceptable business practice. About 10 minutes later, a police officer arrived, followed closely by a tow truck. Officer, ma'am, you need to move your vehicle. You're blocking a business access point. Karen, officer, I'm glad you're here. These people are refusing to honor a valid coupon. She showed him the crumpled paper. Officer, ma'am, this coupon is from 2005. It's clearly expired. Karen, since when do police officers get involved in coupon disputes? I thought you were here to help me. Officer, I'm here because you're blocking traffic and refusing to move. You need to either complete your purchase or leave the premises. Karen, I'm not leaving until I get what I'm owed. Officer, ma'am, you have two options. You can move your car voluntarily, or I can have it towed and cite you for obstruction. Karen, this is harassment. I'm filming everything. She turned back to her phone. Karen, everyone needs to see this. Now the police are threatening me just for trying to use a coupon. This is police brutality. Officer, ma'am, final warning. Move your vehicle or face the consequences. Karen, I'm not moving. This is America, and I have rights. The officer signaled to the tow truck driver. Officer, go ahead and hook it up. Karen, you can't tow my car. I'm a customer here. Tow truck driver, sorry, lady, but you're blocking business access. I have to remove the vehicle. Karen, this is theft. I'm calling my lawyer. She was still streaming on Facebook as the tow truck driver attached the chains to her car. Karen, everyone watching this needs to see what's happening. They're literally stealing my car because I tried to use a coupon. The tow truck lifted her car with her still in it, forcing her to get out. Karen, this is kidnapping. I'm being forced out of my own vehicle. Officer, ma'am, you can retrieve your car from the impound lot after you pay the towing fee. Here's your citation for obstruction of traffic. Karen, I'm not paying anything. This is all illegal. She was still holding her phone, addressing her Facebook audience. Karen, I need everyone to share this video. This restaurant called the police on me and had my car towed just because I wanted to use a 20-year-old coupon. This is what's wrong with this country. Officer, ma'am, you need to leave the property now, or I'll have to arrest you for trespassing. Karen, fine. But everyone is going to hear about this. I'm calling the news stations, the Better Business Bureau, and anyone else who will listen." She finally walked away, still streaming and ranting about consumer rights and police harassment. After she left, the officer talked to my manager about the situation. "Officer, I've seen a lot of strange things, but that might be the first time someone's refused to move for a coupon from 2005. Manager, thanks for handling that. I was starting to think she'd never leave." Officer, some people just don't understand that the world doesn't revolve around them. The drive-through got back to normal pretty quickly, though customers were talking about the incident for the rest of the day. Later that evening, my coworker showed me Karen's Facebook page. She had posted the entire video with a long rant about how she was persecuted for trying to use a legitimate coupon. The comments were not supportive. Most people were pointing out that a coupon from 2005 couldn't possibly be valid, and many were criticizing her for blocking other customers. A few people even recognized her from other similar incidents around town. The best part came 3 days later when my manager showed me a corporate email. Apparently, Karen had indeed called the corporate office multiple times, demanding they pay her towing fees and honor her ancient coupon. Corporate's response was to send a letter explaining that expired coupons are not valid and that blocking drive-through access is not acceptable customer behavior. I heard through the grapevine that the towing and citation fees cost her over $300. All because she refused to accept that a coupon from 2005 might not be valid in 2025. Some people really do live in their own reality, where the rules don't apply to them. I just never expected to meet someone who thought a 20-year-old coupon was worth getting arrested over. Story 2. I've been organizing our town's annual Fall Festival baking contest for 12 years now. It started as a small community event in the church basement, but it's grown into something really special. We get about 40 entries each year, and the whole town comes out to taste the goods and vote. I used to work as a restaurant manager before I retired, so I know food safety regulations pretty well. That knowledge came in handy when dealing with what happened this year. The contest has always been friendly competition. We have categories for pies, cakes, cookies, and quick breads. The entry fee is just $5, and all the money goes to our local food bank. Winners get a ribbon and a $50 gift card to the local grocery store. Nothing huge, but people take pride in their family recipes and the recognition from their neighbors. This year, we had some amazing entries. Mrs. Peterson brought her famous apple pie that's won 3 times before. The high school culinary class entered some beautiful decorated cupcakes. There was this incredible 7-layer chocolate cake that had people taking pictures. The competition was really tight across all categories. Then there was Karen. She'd entered the contest twice before with pretty mediocre results. Her first year, she brought store-bought cookies that she tried to pass off as homemade. We didn't say anything publicly, but several of us recognized the packaging marks. Last year, her pound cake was so dense you could have used it as a doorstop, but she acted like she was some kind of professional baker. This year, she brought banana bread for the quick bread category. The loaves looked decent enough from the outside, but something seemed off when I was setting up the judging table. The texture looked strange, almost grayish, and there was an odd smell. Not terrible, but not quite right either. During the judging, I noticed the judges taking very small bites of her entry and making faces. One of them quietly spit it into a napkin. But they were polite about it and moved on to the other entries without making a scene. When it came time to announce the winners, Karen was standing right up front with this huge, confident smile. She clearly expected to win. The quick bread category was pretty competitive this year. We had an amazing cranberry orange bread, some beautiful zucchini loaves, and this incredible cinnamon swirl bread that smelled like heaven. When I announced that the cinnamon swirl bread had won first place, Karen's face went from excited to shocked to absolutely furious in about 3 seconds. "Karen, this is ridiculous. My banana bread was obviously the best." "Me? I'm sorry you're disappointed, but the judges made their decision based on taste, presentation, and overall quality." "Karen, Those judges don't know what they're talking about. My recipe has been in my family for generations. The winner of the cinnamon swirl bread category, a sweet elderly lady named Rose, looked embarrassed by the outburst. Other contestants were starting to stare. Me, I understand you're upset, but this is supposed to be a fun community event. There's always next year. Karen, next year? Next year? This contest is obviously rigged. You probably bribed the judges. That's when she really lost it. She started shouting about how the contest was unfair and how her banana bread was superior to everything else. People were starting to leave because she was making such a scene. Finally, her husband managed to get her out of there, but not before she made one final threat. Karen, you haven't heard the last of this. I'm going to make sure everyone knows how corrupt this contest is. I thought that was the end of it. Boy, was I wrong. 2 days later, I got a call from the city health department. They'd received a complaint about our baking contest and needed to investigate potential food safety violations. My heart sank because I knew exactly who had called them. The health inspector, a professional woman in her 30s, came out that afternoon. I explained how our contest worked. All entries had to be homemade. We required ingredient lists for allergen information, and we followed basic food safety guidelines. Inspector, the complaint specifically mentioned concerns about expired ingredients and improper allergen labeling. Do you still have any of the entries from the contest? Me, we usually encourage people to take their entries home, but I think there might be some leftovers in the church kitchen. We went to check, and sure enough, there were still pieces of several entries, including Karen's banana bread. The inspector took one look at it and immediately put on gloves. Inspector, this doesn't look right. The color and texture suggest there might be ingredient issues. She took samples and asked me to provide the ingredient list that Karen had submitted. When I showed it to her, the inspector frowned. Inspector, this says no allergens, but I can clearly see what looks like nuts in the bread. Also, the texture and appearance suggest possible issues with expired eggs or dairy. Me, how can you tell? Inspector, I've been doing this for 15 years. When eggs are significantly past their expiration date, they cause baked goods to have that grayish color and dense, almost rubbery texture, and if someone mislabels allergens, that's a serious safety issue. The inspector said she'd have the samples tested and would be in touch. 3 days later, she called with the results. Inspector, the banana bread tested positive for salmonella, which confirms the expired egg theory. Also, there were definitely nuts in the bread despite the labeling saying otherwise. If someone with a severe nut allergy had eaten this, they could have ended up in the hospital. I felt sick. We'd had about 200 people at the contest, including families with small children. Inspector, fortunately, the judges only took small bites, and nobody else seemed to eat much of it, so we haven't had any reported illnesses. But I need to speak with the person who made this entry. I gave her Karen's contact information, and the inspector paid her a visit. Apparently, Karen tried to deny everything at first, but when confronted with the test results, she finally admitted that she'd used eggs that were 3 weeks past their expiration date because she didn't want to go to the store. She also claimed she didn't think the nuts were a big deal because they were just walnuts. The inspector explained that expired eggs can carry dangerous bacteria, and failing to properly label allergens could literally kill someone. Karen's response was to blame everyone else, the contest organizers for not checking ingredients carefully enough, the judges for being biased, and even the health department for making a big deal out of nothing. The health department ended up filing a formal complaint. While Karen didn't face criminal charges since nobody got sick, she was required to take a food safety course and pay a fine. The inspector also recommended that our contest implement stricter guidelines going forward. But the real consequences came from the community. Word got around quickly about what had happened. People were horrified that she'd knowingly used expired ingredients and put people with allergies at risk, all because she was angry about losing a small-town baking contest. The church board, which sponsors our contest, sent Karen a letter formally banning her from participating in any future events. The local grocery store where she worked part-time let her go after hearing about the health department incident. Even her neighbors started avoiding her. The best part was when I ran into her at the post office a few weeks later. She tried to act like nothing had happened. "Karen, I hope you're satisfied. You've ruined my reputation over a stupid baking contest." "Me, ma'am, you ruined your own reputation by using expired ingredients and lying about allergens. Then you made it worse by calling the health department when you didn't get your way." "Karen, I was just trying to expose how unfair the contest was. Me, by potentially poisoning people. The health inspector said your banana bread tested positive for salmonella." Her face went white when I said that. I don't think she'd actually realized how serious the expired egg situation was until that moment. "Me, you put people's health at risk because you were angry about losing a contest with a $50 prize. Think about that." She left without saying another word. The next year's contest was bigger than ever. We implemented the health department's recommendations, including requiring participants to sign statements about ingredient freshness and allergen accuracy. We also started requiring ingredient receipts dated within a week of the contest. Rose, who won the cinnamon swirl bread category, brought the same recipe again and won second place this time. She joked that she was glad there was less drama this year. Everyone laughed, but we all knew exactly what she meant. The story became legendary in our town. People still talk about the woman who tried to poison the baking contest because she didn't win, then called the health department on herself by accident. It's become a cautionary tale about what happens when entitled behavior meets food safety regulations. As for Karen, she moved to the next town over about 6 months later. I heard through the grapevine that she tried to enter their annual chili cook-off, but word had gotten around and they politely declined her entry. Apparently, some reputations are harder to escape than others. Story 3. I've been working at Big Joe's Burgers for 2 years now, ever since I dropped out of community college. I know that sounds bad, but honestly, college wasn't for me. I was studying business management and racking up debt for classes I hated. My parents weren't thrilled when I left, but this job has been great for me. I started as crew and worked my way up to shift supervisor. The pay is decent. My manager actually listens to ideas, and I'm learning real skills about running a business. Our location sits right in the middle of downtown, next to the main shopping district. We get crazy busy during lunch rush and dinner time. The building is old, so the parking lot is small and weirdly shaped. The city fire department made us paint clear red lines for the fire lane that runs along the side of the building where the loading dock is. There are huge signs everywhere that say, "No parking, fire lane vehicles will be towed." It was a typical Tuesday afternoon when this whole mess started. I was working the drive-through window when I noticed a white sedan pull into the fire lane and park right next to the loading dock. The driver just sat there scrolling her phone like she owned the place. I figured she'd move once she realized where she was parked, but after 10 minutes, she was still there. I could see her through the window, and she had that look people get when they're waiting for something. Probably a mobile order. My manager was in the office doing paperwork, so I decided to handle it myself. I walked outside and tapped on her window. "Excuse me, you can't park here. This is a fire lane." She rolled down her window and barely looked up from her phone. "Karen, I'm waiting for my order. I'll be gone in a few minutes." "I understand, but you really need to move. There's regular parking around the corner, or you could come inside to wait." "Karen, I already paid for curbside pickup. Your app said I could park anywhere convenient." The app probably meant the designated curbside spots over there. This area is specifically marked as a fire lane. I pointed to the bright red paint and the multiple signs, but she just shrugged. "Karen, it's fine. I won't be long." She rolled her window back up and went back to her phone. I stood there for a second, not really sure what to do next. I couldn't physically make her move. and she clearly wasn't going to listen to reason. I went back inside and told my manager what was happening. Manager, how long has she been there? Me, about 15 minutes now. Manager, go tell her she has 5 minutes to move or we're calling for a tow truck. I went back outside, but she wouldn't even roll down her window this time. She just pointed at her phone and mouthed, waiting for my order, like I was too stupid to understand. Back inside, I checked our mobile order system. Sure enough, there was an order for someone with her name placed 25 minutes ago. A simple burger combo that should have been ready in 10 minutes max. Me, her order's been ready for 15 minutes. It's just sitting there getting cold. Manager, did you tell her to come in and get it? Me, she won't even talk to me now. My manager shook his head and went to call the towing company. That's when we heard the sirens. A fire truck was coming down the street, and it was clearly heading for our shopping center. There's a medical supply store next to us that gets emergency deliveries sometimes, and their loading dock is right behind ours. The fire truck turned into our parking lot and immediately ran into a problem. Karen's car was blocking the only access route to the loading area. The truck couldn't get around her because of how narrow the space was. The fire captain got out and started banging on her window. She finally rolled it down, and even from inside the restaurant, we could hear him yelling. Fire captain, ma'am, you need to move this vehicle immediately. This is an emergency. Karen, I'm waiting for my food. I can't just leave. Fire captain, this is a fire lane. You're blocking emergency access. Karen, well, nobody told me that. I looked at my coworker in disbelief. There were literally signs everywhere, plus the bright red paint, plus 2 different employees had told her exactly that. The fire captain was radioing for backup while pointing aggressively at all the no parking signs. Karen was arguing with him through her car window, refusing to move until she got her order. Fire captain, move this car right now or you're going to be arrested. Karen, this is harassment. I'm a paying customer. That's when I realized I should probably be recording this insanity. I pulled out my phone and started filming from inside the restaurant. My manager saw what I was doing and nodded approvingly. The fire captain had apparently reached his limit. He called for a police unit and a tow truck while his crew worked on accessing the loading dock from a different angle. They were responding to a small kitchen fire at the medical supply store, and every minute counted. Karen finally seemed to realize she was in serious trouble when the police car pulled up. But instead of moving her car, she got out and started yelling. Karen, this is ridiculous. All I wanted was my burger. Why is everyone making such a big deal about this? Police officer, ma'am, you're parked in a clearly marked fire lane and refusing to move during an emergency response. Karen, nobody told me I couldn't park here. The police officer looked around at all the signs and painted curbs, then back at Karen like she was insane. Police officer, are you seriously going to tell me you didn't see any of these signs? Karen, those signs are too small, and the paint is faded. I zoomed in with my phone to get a good shot of the massive, no parking fire lane sign that was literally 2 feet from her car door. By this time, the tow truck had arrived and was already hooking up her car. Karen went completely ballistic. Karen, you can't tow my car. I'm a customer. I have rights. Police officer, you have the right to a citation for blocking a fire lane during an emergency response. That's a $500 fine. Karen, $500. For parking. Police officer, for blocking emergency services. Yes, ma'am. She tried to argue with the tow truck driver, but he just ignored her and loaded her car onto the truck. The whole process took about 10 minutes, during which she stood there screaming about customer service and discrimination. After her car was gone, she finally came inside to get her order. By then, her food had been sitting under the heat lamps for 45 minutes and was completely dried out. Karen, I want a fresh order. This food is ruined because of your incompetent staff. Manager, ma'am, your order was ready on time. You chose not to come in and get it. Karen, I couldn't come in. I was dealing with the harassment from your employees. Manager, you were illegally parked in a fire lane and refused to move when asked politely. She demanded a refund, a fresh order, and compensation for her towing fees. My manager calmly explained that none of that was happening and asked her to leave. The best part was what happened after she left. I posted the video on social media with the caption, "When entitlement meets emergency services," and it went viral locally. People were sharing it everywhere, roasting her for blocking firefighters and then playing victim. The fire captain even stopped by later to thank us for recording everything. Apparently, Karen tried to file a complaint against him for aggressive behavior, but our video showed he was completely professional while she acted like a maniac. Karen also tried to dispute the parking citation, but between our security cameras, my phone video, and the fire department's report, her case was dismissed immediately. 3 days later, she showed up again and tried to order like nothing had happened. My manager recognized her voice in the drive-thru and told her she was banned from our location. She tried to argue through the speaker box about how that was illegal, but we just turned off the microphone and helped the next customer. Sometimes I wonder if people like Karen actually believe they're in the right, or if they just hope that making enough noise will get them what they want. Either way, she learned the hard way that fire lanes aren't suggestions.